We're all set to hear about the new stimulus deal later on today, but one provision that will not be part of that is a payroll tax cut. So now we know. Seems like a good time to bring in Larry Kudlow. Larry, welcome to the program. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks, Stu.
We are told that we're going to get 70% wage protection in this next plan, that we're going to get liability protection, that we're going to get $1,200 checks, and that we're going to get a moratorium on evictions. What else is in this thing that you can tell us about?
Just one clarification. The moratorium on evictions, that's for federally financed, Fannie Mae, FHA homes. They're forbearing. They will continue forbearance. So there will be no evictions in that sense. On the other side, on the rental side, we're still looking at that. We're still working through that. But one important point, the $1,200 checks will, of course, help people avoid eviction. So federally financed single families, absolutely no eviction. They're still in the forbearance stage. As far as multifamilies, we're looking into that, but the $1,200 checks will provide relief. That's what I was trying to say yesterday.
Is there anything else in this proposal that we should know about? More checks? Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking through. You've talked about the wages. You've talked about the checks. There will be increased business deductions for meals and entertainment. The liability restrictions are an absolute must. The 70% wage cap will be in there. That's an absolute must. There are probably a lot of details. There may be a Buy America provision in there. There may be some other things in there. Look, the president was disappointed, didn't get the payroll tax for political reasons. I'm disappointed. I just say this as a bit of an editorial coming from me. At some point, the White House and the Republican Congress, Senate and House, have got to put some investment incentives, tax rate incentives, and regulatory reduction incentives for long-term economic growth. I mean, Stu, you're not the checks may be essential, but the fact is you can't spend your way into long-term prosperity. And I'm hoping over time this summer, maybe there'll be additional bills, and certainly the president's reelection campaign. We simply must talk about investment incentives for entrepreneurs, large and small businesses, and more regulatory rollback, which the president himself is very, very keen on. I just want to put that in there. We're not the Democratic Party, and FDR's Treasury Secretary in 1939, Morgenthau, after 10 years of spending, testified before Congress, and he said, he admitted, all the spending we've done hadn't made anything better. So there's a bit of a lesson there.
But the Democrats have enormous leverage here. You're going into an election 3 months away. You want to secure a win for President Trump. That might mean you've got to spend some more money, and the Democrats really want you to spend a lot more than $1 trillion. They've got the leverage here to push that through.
Well, they have a lot of asks. Interest group asks. More teachers spending money asks. I don't want to go through their litany. That's not my intent today. But I will just say this. $3.5 trillion increase doesn't make any sense to me. Most reasonable people, these are things that the Democrats have been asking for many years, and certainly for the March stuff was rejected in March. I do not think they will get that. There has to be some prudence. But the most important thing, look, we want to keep the schools open. We want to keep the businesses open. Okay, let me just dwell on that for a second. But we want to create jobs. The whole point here is kids and jobs. All right, kids and jobs. Now, with safety and health guidelines, right? The masking, the distancing, the testing, and the hygiene. That is going to be the key to opening up the schools and the businesses, okay, and the businesses. So health comes first and safety comes first, and it's integrated with the economic story. I'm just saying that my V-shaped recovery forecast, which is still intact, needs some help on the safety part,
Yeah.
but it also needs some help on the investment part. We have to signal to large and small businesses that we will reward you for investment, and we should signal the workforce, the heroes who have been working, as well as those moving that there'll be incentives. And we do have the retention credit for incentives, and we do have a reemployment credit for incentives to go back to work.
Can I put it like this? If you don't get classroom-based teaching, you don't get a V-shaped recovery.
Well, the classroom teaching thing, look, fundamentally I agree with the thrust of what you're saying. I don't know whether that affects the economy this fall or not. I think it might. I think it's a fair point. I think, besides the psychology and besides the education of teaching kids in school, which is very important, and pediatricians, almost everyone's saying that. There's an economic component here. If the kids stay home, the parents may have to stay home. And if parents may have to stay home, won't go back to work. So that is also a prime consideration. Look, if you're in a hot spot, you may have to defer the opening of the schools. The president has said that, sure. But by and large, in the next 12 months, as this virus passes through, as it will, we've got to get the kids to school. We've got to keep businesses open. And so far, I might add, the economic numbers, with some small exceptions from the Southwest, the economic numbers are still pretty good. I was hoping you'd ask me about that, Stu.
Well, why don't you tell us about those economic numbers that you really want to tell us about? Go ahead.
I'm just dying to tell you about it before I wilt in this 95-degree weather. Let me say, it's my pleasure to come on always. Let me just say this. So far, what we know, there's a huge housing boom, there's a retailing boom, there's an automobile boom. Trucking is still very strong. You saw the equipment numbers today, the manufacturing equipment numbers, way up the chart, beating all expectations. We have had a jobs boom so far, and contrary to some poor reading, unemployment claims and continuing claims are falling rapidly, and the July jobs number on unemployment and job increases, I think, is going to look pretty good. I'm not going to make forecasts, but it looks pretty good. Now, I will concede, because of what's happened in Texas and California and Florida, much less so. Arizona looks better. But those big states, they're important states. We've seen restaurants go down, okay? The mobility index for the Apple Travel Index has flattened out. It's not falling, but the restaurants have gone down, and I think that is affected by these three economic states. But let us not forget that the entire Northeast is wide open and recovering and opening businesses, and most of the Midwest, and especially the factory production and the manufacturing plants, are opening. So we're looking carefully at any moderation in the story. I get that, and there will be some in July, but I think the V-shaped recovery and the 20% second half growth is still very much intact.
I'll leave it at that. The V-shaped recovery is very much intact. Larry Kudlow, as always, thanks for joining us. I know you're wilting in 95-degree weather. Get into the air conditioning soon, yeah.
Thank you, Stu.
Sure thing. Thanks.